What's up? All right, so as promised, I'm making a video on how I hear God and how to hear God, because there's so many people in my Discord that wanted wanted information on this. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just go over some notes that I have here that of the how to hear God. I think it's important to understand how He speaks to us. I think a lot of people want to think that it's just like someone standing next to them or me speaking to you right now, which a lot of the time it's not. So here are just some ways that He speaks to us. So there is audibly, straight up, just like you can hear it, like with your physical ears. There are dreams. He can speak to us through dreams, through daydreams, which I like to refer to as visions, through objects around us, throughout our everyday, anything. He can speak to us through objects, thoughts that are not your own. He can put thoughts in your head that will make you think like Him, essentially, or the way He wants you to think. If you know what you're looking out for, if you can discern that those thoughts are from Him and not from yourself. And then the people around us. He can speak to us through the people around us, which he does a lot, and He will do a lot. And if you're not able to discern that He's speaking to you through that person, then you won't grasp it, and you'll just think they were just talking to you, and you'll miss the whole point. But if you are looking out for ways God's speaking to you throughout the day, then you'll grasp that, and you'll understand when someone's speaking to you because you're watching for it. So imagine someone's yelling at you from across like a really noisy room, okay? In order to hear them, first you need to know they're speaking to you. And a lot of times they do that by jumping up and down, right? Or waving at you or something. If someone's yelling at you from across the room, you can hear the noise, right? You can hear the noise in the room, and you hear that someone's yelling, but you're not discerning that that's for you because you don't know it's from you because it's across a noisy room. So if you are focused on hearing God and know He's trying to speak to you, so if you know that and are focused on it, then you're going to be able to hear it, right? Now, if they're across a room, which if you're not close to God, you'll need to be, because He speaks softly. You've probably heard that God speaks in a still small voice before. So just like someone in a noisy room, you need to get closer to them in order to hear them better. It's just like that. You need to get closer to God to hear Him better, or to hear Him at all. The noisy room symbolizes this world, because there's a lot going on, and so oftentimes we're not focused on hearing God, especially throughout the day, especially when you're working, going through school, anything like that. You're not really focused on hearing God, but you could be while you're doing all of those things. And another thing I want to point out is a lot of people question, why doesn't He just yell at me in my face right now, tell me exactly what He wants me to do? There's a few reasons that I think that He doesn't do that. One preacher I know said it really well. To get like a bad kid, to get like a bad kid's attention, right? A kid that's just like all over the place, swirling around. To get his attention, you need like a clown, or you need a big like feat of entertainment in order to get this kid to sit still, right? And just to focus on something. But to get a well-tempered kid's attention, all you have to do is, you can just speak softly to them, and if they're a well-tempered kid, then they're just gonna listen to you. And so I think it's sort of like that, where He's speaking to everyone, but the bad kids ain't listening. I know it's kind of like cliche. It's just for like it's just for the example. He is trying to get your attention. You just have to sit, pay attention, and get close to Him, and you'll hear Him. Now, how do you get close to God in order to hear the still small voice? There's three things: reading His Word, praying, and worship. That's how you get closer to God. That's what He wants us to do to get closer to Him, to become more like Him. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail on all three of these things, because that would take forever. Like, the video would be an hour long. But there's lots of great stuff on that, and I'll link some stuff in the description of this video if you want more information on each one of those things individually, like on how to read the Word properly, or where to start reading, how to pray and why we pray, and then worship, what worship is. And it's like that. It's not just like singing, because some people suck at singing or don't like singing. Although we should sing, there's more to worship than just singing. So I'll put links in the description to that type of stuff. But those are the three things I think we should do to get closer to God. And I think doing those, along with trying to discern what he is saying to us, or knowing that he is saying things to us that will help us, that'll help you hear God. So we get close to God, listen closely like a well-tempered child, and understand the ways he speaks to us. And as I was kind of like writing this, like all this stuff and all these notes, he actually so recently spoke to me through my father. So this is an example that I just want to give you really quick. So he put a thought in my head maybe a week ago to listen to my father, to listen to the things my father says. And then obviously you're supposed to do that all the time. But he put it in my head, listen to your father. And then my father called me twice that week, which isn't that weird. He calls me all the time, but he basically said, you need to save money for your taxes, which sounds weird enough that I wasn't going to. I just wasn't saving money for taxes. And I really wasn't going to when he called me the first time. I was like, I'll be fine, right? Which sounds stupid now saying it back, right? But I was actually thinking that way. I was like, I'm not going to, I'll be fine. He called me again, and he was like, listen, you need to save money for your taxes. And so I did, and I'm going to, and I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but obviously I think it's going to be better than if I didn't save money for my taxes. So, that's how he spoke to me. It was through my father, because when he gave me that thought to listen to my father, I was thinking, well, I'm supposed to listen to my father. I'm supposed to do that all the time. That's just how it works. But I think it was that thought I knew was not from me. It was not a thought that I brought about myself. And then when my father called me, it was something important that led to this specific time. And I think, that's how God was speaking to me in that time. I was praying when he gave me that thought to listen to my father. Because I was discerning and ready to discern my thoughts from his, that's how I know that it came from God and was not of myself. It's really hard to describe the feeling of when you get a thought that's not your own. But I think a lot of the times people do get them and then just look over it. Because either God or Satan, I think, will put thoughts in your head. And a lot of people just think all their thoughts are their own. But you will get some that are not your own. And it's important to be able to discern that. And I think if you're watching out and thinking, okay, is God speaking to me and what is he saying? Then you will be able to discern what thoughts are yours and which thoughts are his. Satan, the enemy, will try and put thoughts in your head. And so how do you discern the thoughts are how do you make sure they're not from Satan, right? Like the thoughts can be evil thoughts. Well, it's pretty simple. You get a Bible or even just Google. If the thought does not line up with the Word of God, the Bible, then it is 100% from the enemy, right? And so in this situation, that thought that came into my mind to listen to my father, it's literally one of the 10 commandments. I'm pretty sure. It's to listen to your parents and respect them and listen to what they tell you. And I'm gonna Google it. Yeah, Ephesians 6:1-4. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, that it may go well with you, and that you may live long in the land. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and instruction of the Lord. So, that lines up with the Bible, that thought that I had. That's the point, is that thought lines up with the Bible, and so I know that if it's not mine, and it lines up with the Bible, then it is from God. Now, so I know this is kind of like a lot of instruction. This is a lot to do. I got to grow closer to God, and then I got to listen, and then I got to understand all these things. So there's actually Robert Morris, and I'll link this video in the description as well. He made a video on, if you need a word from God, this is what you do. So basically what it is, you just pray and say, Lord, I need a word from you. I need a word from you. So please speak to me. And then you just start writing. And then you can just write anything at all. Just start writing. It could literally be just like I'm watching a Mr. Homeless video on his third channel, and it's a bit weird, and his nose is still large though. And just like anything, just start writing and keep writing. Write for like 3 or 4 minutes. Seriously, pause the video right now and just start write for 3 or 4 minutes, and then read back everything that you wrote a few minutes later. So I actually did this. I did this along that way, it wasn't so I could give an example, just show you how I did it. Lord, I feel like I am missing your presence lately. I want to hear your voice, and I want your guidance in my life. Please lead my steps and let me walk the path you have laid out for me. Please speak to me, Lord. Abba, Father, I am listening and need to hear you, Lord. Fill me with your spirit so I can be more like you. Thank you for giving me a job, O Lord. I am grateful for the friends you're putting in my life. I need you, Lord. I am a sinner, therefore I sin. Forgive me, and now I am righteous before you. So basically before this morning, I kind of felt distracted and like I felt disconnected from God, right? And so I wrote all of this, and then at the end of it, I mean, I felt a peace, and just like a peace, and no longer distracted, no longer separated from God's presence. This is just how I felt, right? And so so I felt the peace, and that's really ultimately what I wanted. But then I was thinking, okay, so he just spoke to me through peace, and that was it. But as I was writing, you, Lord, have chosen not to, I was going to say not to speak to me through words or thoughts, just through peace. He cut me off and said, make this video and I will bless it. And that's what he said to me in my thoughts. And so, I mean, by bless it, I think just means it's good. I think it's good, and it's good for everyone to have this knowledge, this information on how I hear God, just for your sake, so you can hear God. It wasn't audibly spoken to, but I felt peace, which is what I really wanted. And then I got the thought that came from God that he will bless this act that I'm doing. And so I think a lot of the time, peace is how he leads us. The devil cannot operate in peace. He'll use anxiety and evil thoughts to try and control you. So let peace guide you. If you have thoughts that don't align with the Bible, then they're 100% from the enemy, and it's not God. A lot of people just want to hear, like, okay, what do I do? Just tell me exactly what to do, and then I'll do it. And then, what's going to happen? Just tell me what's going to happen. I think that's the way a lot of people are. They're just like, tell me right now. And I think I've been that way before. I mean, I think we all have. If you're a Christian, you just want to know, right? You just want to know. But I think it's not God just being like, I'm not going to tell you. I think it's for our own sake, because we think we want to know, or we think we want to do something, but he knows what's best for us, and he has our best interest in mind. So instead of him just telling us, he's not telling us for our own sake. It's like spoiling a movie. He wants what's good for us. If we just have faith and let him guide us with his peace, then he'll reveal to us as much as we need to see, and he will help us live, I mean, the blessed life that he has laid out for us. So I hope this helped you. I hope it was. I've never made a video like this, so I don't know. If it sucked, it sucked. So what? But for you that are not, if you're here just from like YouTube, I have a Discord where we discuss this type of thing. It's in the description as well. So come join the discussion. I also answer questions. If you have a question for me or want to answer questions or anything about Christianity or Jesus, just click the link, come to the Discord. Yeah, there's instructions there on how to get the role to come join that specific channel. Yeah, I hope this helped. Thank you. Bye.